which then leads me to my second question, maybe turning around the question. My previous question was, who made you fall in love with learning? Maybe a second question we need to ask students to honestly ask themselves is, why did you fall out of love with learning? And that leads me, I think, to another piece that you've written that I really want to encourage people to read, and it's called Achievement and the Christian Life, which you wrote for the American Enterprise Institute initiative on faith and public life. Because part of the reason I think your piece on learning and love is so crucial is because I think everybody who's listening here today and everybody who goes on to college has fallen in love with learning at some point. But a lot of them have fallen out of love with learning, and learning has become a tool for achievement. And I want us now to talk a little bit about your piece on achievement in the Christian life, because I think you take a nuanced approach that, of course, we should care about achievement. But what's the risk when learning becomes nothing but, as you say, kind of a way to soft brag about what your grades were or what kind of fellowship you got, or, what we called in my PhD program, shameless self-promotion. What happens when the end of learning becomes achievement and love disappears? So why did you write this piece? And what do we need to do to rethink this achievement culture we've created?
Well, those are great questions. I wrote the achievement piece because, again, it was kind of a personal observation. I teach in the Honors College, and as you can guess, the Honors College brings in the most highly talented students at Baylor. They're high achievers coming in. They have to have, in most cases, minimum test scores to get in, although that may change rather soon. But the point is, they're high achievers when they come in. And what I would see is that my students would get, a semester or so in, and then they'd start feeling really stressed. They would sometimes come to me and say, I don't know if I can do all this. I'm exhausted. I know that I need to do the internship, during the summer, and I need to be involved in this society and this other event, group of events on campus. But it's all making me tired, and I kind of question what it's all for. So the more I talk to the students, and this continues, of course, any of you who are teachers will recognize this very well, as they get older, the pressure gets even more intense. What will they be doing after college? They're constantly being encouraged to facilitate their future career prospects by doing X and Y, and there is no time for leisure. And there's no real time for contemplation during this sort of rat race that is set up in the very beginning of college. So the piece I wrote on achievement arose out of many conversations with high achieving young people who started to say, what am I doing all this work for? What is the end goal of all this? And I wanted to offer, and I do offer in the piece, some alternative ways of thinking about achievement, because I know David Brooks has written about this, his distinction between the resume and the eulogy values. And that's a very nice way of putting it, that, what are people going to say about you at your funeral? Do you want them to say that you wrote 17 books, or that you were a wonderful person and a devoted mother, or any number of other sort of personal goals that you might try to achieve? Obviously, I try to make the case in the piece that there is a place for both of these things, but we need to reorient the way we think about achievement so that it doesn't become the single and only goal of life. Instead, I think we need to imagine that there are other goods that are personal, that consist in love, that are as or probably far more important than the things we do to put on our resume and to become successful in the world. So that's an overview of what the piece was about. And it arose out of personal experience. All my writing, except some academic writing doesn't, but all my more popular writing arises out of personal experiences. And I think that's what makes it more readable than some of the academic work.